When your idols collapse one after another, some companies start to turn their attention to virtual idols. As early as 2007, the virtual idol Hatsune Miku appeared in Japan. It not only has its own concerts, figures, games, but even attracted many global fans to become its die-hard fans. In recent years, with the breakthroughs in the field of deep learning algorithms in China and price reduction of equipment, the virtual human industry has also made major breakthroughs, and has been widely used in various fields, demonstrations, live broadcasts, navigation. The explosion of the metaverse has added fuel to the burning fire of the virtual human. Many companies can get virtual people by shouting 10,000 yuan. This microscopic story visited the virtual human industry and found employees working in different types of virtual human companies. Among them, some people made announcements in the virtual human company, and formed a team to vote for idols and strive to make their idols debut. At the same time, because virtual humans will not roll over, there are brands who want to occupy a position in the air. Someone was originally a voice, and did a live broadcast at the request of fans, but did not want to be opened blind. After the actual information was exposed, the reaction of fans was unknown, so they spent tens of thousands of yuan to make a virtual 2D skin for live broadcast. There are also people who are students majoring in performance. When the film and television industry is down, they become the middleman, the person who controls the virtual anchor, behind the virtual anchor in the live broadcast room, standing under the company's spotlight, but unable to identify themselves. There is still a lot of imagination about the future of virtual humans. From these practitioners alone, we will see the reckless process experienced when an emerging industry is popularized to the public. Here's the real story about them. Burn millions in 1 minute and grab celebrity endorsement business. Du announced at the age of 27. In 2021, the concept of the metaverse is on fire, and I also follow the trend to work in a virtual human company. Virtual human is also called digital human. According to the dimension of character graphics, it is divided into two categories, 2D and 3D. From the appearance, it can be divided into cartoon, realistic and other styles. There are 4 types of real-life images. Our company is to do 3D high realistic virtual people. Lu Yexi is the first popular character in a peer company. After she gained millions of followers overnight, the concept of digital assets was also pushed to the front of the public, and brands, so many brands came to the door and were willing to pay tens of millions to take advantage of this outlet. However, there are many companies seeking door-to-door cooperation, and there are very few popular characters on the market that can reproduce Lu Yexi. This is related to the cumbersome production process and huge investment cost of high-fidelity virtual people. It is not easy to create a hyper-realistic virtual corner from scratch, first of all to determine the image. After confirming that our company's virtual people follow the national style, a costume design team was formed internally. The costume design team looked for inspiration from the classics of various dynasties to design the character clothes, and then handed them over to the factory to make samples, and then recruited many actors. Try on, interpret the character, and then hand it over to the original artist to model and determine the image. Modeling is the most important and the most repetitive part. As the character's image and hair accessories are more elaborate, the cost will be more expensive. For example, if our image is wearing earrings, it may just shake the head. Every frame has to be calculated by gravity, and then remodeled, which will cost more than 100,000 yuan. But determining the image and modeling is only the first step, and the next step is to make the virtual human move. According to the plan, our company intends to let the virtual human live broadcast, but because the current domestic technology cannot completely separate from the human to build a real virtual human like foreign countries, we also need to use Chinese people, that is, special effects actors, to capture their movements, technology, the so-called head changer. Even Hu Haibing, the so-called first AA student at Tsinghua University, came to change heads, and our company stopped this attempt. Chinese people are not easy to find. In addition to the ability to mobilize the atmosphere like ordinary anchors, they also need to control their expressions. After all, they are characters who change their heads and model, so the requirements for Chinese people will be higher. But the requirements are so high, why don't Chinese people become anchors themselves? To this end, we can only use the method of saving the country by curve, that is, the way of constructing the plot to make the characters move. The process is similar to that of making a movie, but the purpose is different. The virtual human in the movie is for the movie, and we are for the virtual human. Make movies. The team has recruited screenwriters, directors, producers, actors, and film and television later stages. After the post-production of the film and television, the finished film is released, and publicity and operation and other promotions are still needed. After all, the number of team members is already 20 people. The labor cost, coupled with the fact that the equipment must be imported to achieve the effect, leads to the production cost of 1-minute virtual human movies is about 1 million yuan, and the production cycle is long and there are many uncontrollable factors. Therefore, the current situation of the entire industry is uncertain, and the turnover rate remains high. For the brand side, because the technology cannot achieve interaction and the distance from the user may not be so great, the commercial value may not be so great, so the attempt often ends without success and stays on the gimmick. For third-party virtual human production companies, there are not enough monetization channels, and this cost cannot be covered. In the end, they can only go to the issuance of digital collections or concept financing. As for our company, we have organized a team around virtual idols, which is responsible for investing in operational data. After all, virtual people are idols who debut as idols, and they can also receive advertisements. Most of the brands are companies with deep pockets, such as automobiles and online games. The belief that supports us going forward is that virtual idols will never roll over. A good-looking leather bag is 1 in 1,000 miles, and the price starts at 10,000 yuan. Yi Nyong 24 years old leather case virtual anchor. I am a personal virtual anchor, and my job is a female voice, that is, to provide female users with sound effects, ambient sounds, vocals and other sounds to create sound works with situational plots. The main source of voices is fan rewards. After I accumulate some fans, I need to maintain good interaction with fans to ensure that the income live broadcast is imminent. The voice circle is very similar to the fan circle. Fans love and hate are very impulsive. It's a moment if they like it or not. It is also easy to lose fans because they feel disillusioned after learning the real situation of the voice anchor, virtual idol Team A. After the information of Seoul's Nakano, actual actor, was released, many fans felt that their dreams were broken and they were called collapsed houses. So I decided to stay mysterious and make a skin for myself to appear in front of everyone through an avatar. Because our avatar is 2D, it is also called imported shadow play, three-dimensional paper figure. But this shadow play and three-dimensional paper figure are not cheap. The first thing to do is to determine the personality. Most of my fans are urban white-collar workers with good educational background and jobs, but because I live in the city, it is difficult to find a partner, and I really like domineering CEOs, so I made a charming role for myself, and then filled in the character's information, including hair color, ear studs, etc. Next, I took this information to find an artist to help me make a 2D picture. The quotations of painters in the industry range from a few hundred yuan to tens of thousands of yuan, but because the industry is just emerging and it is not standardized, it can only be said that good-looking skins are chosen from 1,000 miles, and the price starts from 10,000 yuan. And for this skin, I spent 12,000 yuan to get a still picture. After I have this character image, I need to find a modeler to bind this image to my face expression, so that the face matches the model, so that the expression can be synchronized. The whole debugging process is about 3 times. In addition to the basic facial capture, some sweaty expressions will be added. At this point, the virtual person just moves over. It is not enough to live broadcast. It is necessary to purchase a software management software of TTS Studio, which is convenient for identifying the expressions of real characters and synchronizing them into the virtual leather case. In addition, the live broadcast room also needs to be decorated. It can be understood as having a background, etc., and it costs hundreds of thousands of yuan to find an artist to paint a set, and the characters need to change their clothes once, the characters need to be replaced with new skins, and they need to find an artist to paint a new set. Customized, the cost ranges from 500 to 800 yuan. The whole cost is about 30,000 yuan, but the abundance and frugality can be controlled within 10,000 yuan. Because the threshold is low, as long as there is skin, you can live broadcast, and the industry practitioners have skyrocketed, which has also led to the industry becoming more and more popular. In order to gain more fans, many anchors will customize materials for themselves and send them around as benefits, such as calling with a reward of 88 yuan, you can get a pillow, and a reward of 128 yuan, you may get an umbrella. These materials also need the anchor to pay for it. But unlike everyone's assumption that the monthly income of anchors is often hundreds of thousands, the salary of our virtual anchors is very low, and only 2% of the people barely earn more than 10,000. In order to make more money, many anchors have come up with traffic ideas and started playing side balls. Most of the time, I sigh, how lonely urban people are to spend a lot of money on an image that never existed. I'm an anchor, but my family never sees me. Lorna, 21 years old. I majored in acting in college, but when the film and television industry was cold, I came into contact with a virtual anchor and went to a certain brand's live broadcast room to become a Chinese person. Comes from the Japanese, which refers to a person who manipulates tuber, virtual anchor, to conduct live broadcasts. My main job is to work shifts with a few other girls to ensure that the virtual characters in the live broadcast room are always online. Although we often appear in the eyes of the public, we are also the most secret group of people in the company. Before joining the company, we need to sign a non-disclosure agreement, promising not to disclose our identity and work content. This is also the industry's the unspoken rule is that all virtual cosplayers cannot reveal their identities, and Disney's puppets have a similar requirement. When I first started live broadcast, my parents would look forward to going to the live broadcast room to watch my performance. After a few days of squatting, they sent a message and asked me, "You said you are the anchor, why didn't we see you?" After signing a non-disclosure agreement, the company will train us. Let us understand the corporate culture and the personality and characteristics of the virtual anchor to be played, and strive to make us consistent, so as to avoid the change of the anchor due to the switching of the middle person during the handover, which will cause the audience's disgust. At the same time, we also need to train our movements and expression management. Because the industry is too small, many of the middle-aged people are not born in a class, and the lack of expressiveness leads to funny and strange actions when synchronizing with the virtual human. Of course, in addition to learning how to act as a virtual anchor, we also need to learn live broadcast skills, including how to activate the atmosphere of the live broadcast room, remember the selling points of products, and guide users to place orders. When it was broadcast, it was different from other anchors who needed to do modeling. We needed to try to be as simple as possible, and then put on a full body motion capture device and a face capture device. The body device has 27 sensing nodes. After calibration, our movements can be real-time. Synchronized to the virtual anchor, face capture equipment, we need to use a mobile phone, we need to bring another helmet to put the mobile phone in front of, just like the motion capture actor in the movie. In contrast, I prefer to call myself a motion capture actor. For better live broadcast effect, some companies have specially built a studio full of green screens for live broadcast. As a people in the middle, our salary is not as high as the outside world guessed. It is generally between 10,000 and 20,000. There will be additional bonuses for sales. The monthly live broadcast time is about 180 hours. Listen to it's easy to get up and work less than 7 hours a day, right? But in the live broadcast room, we need to run and jump, keep talking to liven up the atmosphere, answer questions from fans, and make recommendations. After work, we all fall apart. Compared with direct sales, we also shoulder the heavy responsibility of displaying the corporate image. Every word and deed will be supervised by a special person. After the end, everyone will sit together and review the data according to the data. Sometimes there will be competition between people with different roles in the same role. We call it inner competition internally, that is, different people have different data, different results, and different evaluations when they broadcast live. But what gives me the most sense of achievement is that some die-hard fans have been squatting in the live broadcast room for a long time, and they can tell the difference between me and others through the virtual anchor. However, because there are professionals among the people in the middle, especially those who have undergone performance training and can control their expressions, there are few practitioners. At present, I am not worried about unemployment in this field. It is a better way out in the cold winter. Postscript. In the interview, the three practitioners have different ideas about the virtual human industry. DU feels that there is not much innovation in this industry at present, but the technology circle has used the film circle for use. Before the arrival of the metaverse, the virtual person is more like a rice circle idol, and needs to worry about making money. Yin Yong believes that what she is engaged in has nothing to do with numbers, but just changed her skin to accompany everyone. This industry has been around for a long time, but it is not as convenient as it is now. In contrast, Lorna is more confused. She thinks that all her work experiences are digital assets, and she has no way to prove her labor and measure her own value. She has been living in a shadow. But with regard to the future trend of the virtual human industry, everyone believes that the development of technology will be more valuable. Otherwise, it's just to sell money, it's too unfulfilling, right? Du said. And how far can technology develop to be valuable? Metaverse has become the common answer in everyone's mouth.